What's up, everybody? Belligerent here with another Bloodline video, another one of our clan series. In our clan series videos, we take a look at each clan individually. We give you our opinion so you can help make your own opinion. We look at which one should you choose, the male champion or the female champion if you can only pick one. Now we take a look at the kits, the passive, the active, and the ultimate abilities. We don't look at stats, we don't look at traits, we just look at their kit. And we also take a look at how they fit in their given role. Warrior, tank, mage, DPS, support, stuff like that. And then ultimately we make a determination. If you can only use one, which one is better? Now, things we take into consideration is which one is easier to use, which one is more plug and play. A lot of, if not all of these champions, you can build a comp around. We'll get into different comps and stuff like that later on in the future. Right now, we're just looking at, hey, I just did a champion pull. I got this champion. Is he good or is he not? Or I pulled two champions. Which one should I use? That's what we're looking at right now. And in today's video, we are looking at the Tidestorm Clan. This is a marksman clan. Okay? So, one thing to keep in mind, okay, is in the codex, which is what we're using, this is the maxed out version. It's a mythic. It's a 15-star level 600 stats that you're looking at. So when we go through these abilities, just keep in mind, it's going to give you a percentage. That percentage is going to be much larger than what you probably have on yours, unless you have a level 600 15-star mythic champion. But just keep that in mind. Sometimes abilities look viable, but early game they're not really viable. Like if a stat is giving you 30% damage maxed out, if you have a rare 2-star version, it's probably like 0.5%. This is not that usable. So check your champions to see what the stats are and make your own determination. All right, let's jump into this. The male Tidestorm, passive ability, Soul Reap. Absorbs the soul of each enemy that has been eliminated to improve his attack speed and strength. To improve his attack speed, and then his strength is also increased by 15%. Okay, so that doesn't sound like it's a max of 15%, so you figure the best usage you're going to get out of this is 60%, right? There's 5 targets that can get killed, but you're only going to get benefits from 4 of them, because when the 5th one dies, the match is over. He has nothing else to kill. Okay? It does not say he has to kill them. It just says anybody can kill them. All right. So first one dies, he gets 15% stronger. Second one dies, he gets 30% stronger, so on and so forth. So that's a really strong ability, assuming it works that way. Sometimes they word them in ways that isn't really the way it works, but that sounds like a very strong passive ability. Off the top of my head, that might be one of the stronger ones. The only way it could be better is if it was based off of like a tax mate or something like that, rather than, because he gets no use out of his passive until somebody dies, right? But as long as you're killing people, you're doing good. All right, his active ability, Drag Shot. Attacks the enemy furthest away, dealing damage equal to a % of his strength. After hitting the enemy, pulls them a short distance back towards the caster. If you've ever played Mortal Kombat, think of Scorpion. Get over here! That thing. This, I'm telling you this right now, is probably, I'm going to say probably to leave it open because I might be forgetting about something. But this is probably the best. Actually, there's one that I might think is better. But it's at least, this is top 3 crowd control ability in the game. Okay, just to give you a brief example, on my main account, I am at stage 11 of the campaign. And I am still using a 4-star common male Tidestorm. Why? Because I can't find something better. Leave me alone. On one of my other accounts, I have a mythic Tidestorm, but I can't find one for my main account. But that's fine. You know why? Because all I need him for is this ability. There is no champion and no ability that gets to the backline better than Drag Shot. Okay, so what you want to do when you use them is you take a look at the comp that you're going against. You determine which one of the back line is the biggest threat, and you put him kitty corner from it. Not directly across, but kitty corner, because you want them to be the furthest away from him. Now, sometimes it does weird stuff and makes him target the one that's across from him, even though they're not farther. I haven't figured out why. And then he will drag them up into roughly the 2 spot, a little bit further ahead. But what that does is it allows your DPS to then, because your DPS are going to focus the closest targets. Right, it now puts that back line champion in danger. It's so strong. Like, I can't even stress how strong this ability is in its utility. All right, his ultimate, Lethal Shot, fires a giant steel arrow at the enemy, dealing damage equal to a percentage of his strength and inflicting stun for 3 seconds. If the enemy has less than 30% health, the damage is doubled. Okay. So it's basically big damage and a big stun. Great crowd control. It takes a little bit to go off. He does this backflip for some reason. Okay, but that's a good solid damage ability. But don't it's good, but don't misunderstand. If you're playing him for his active ability. He's also a marksman, so he can DPS for you if you find a legendary, mythic, whatever. If you build him up, he will do plenty of damage. You're still using him for his drag shot. All right, let's take a look at the female. Vicious Quiver increases normal attack damage by 1% and increases damage against enemies with negative effects by 1%. Okay. All right. All it is just buff. Easy buff. You don't have to do anything to apply it. To get the bigger one, she basically gets more of a buff if they're under a negative effect. Okay. But although all it is a buff, it's a good buff. Why? Because we don't have to do anything special. It doesn't increase with damage. You don't have to land 5 shots. It just happens. All right. Blinding Shot deals damage equal to, who came up with that number? All right. Equal to a percentage of her strength to the enemy and inflicts blind, causing normal attacks to miss for 3 seconds. All right. So that's pretty strong. Good way to save, good utility to save some damage from one of your teammates. 3 seconds is kind of quick, though, so I don't know how much damage you're preventing for them, but it might be the difference between them winning the fight they're in and losing the fight they're in if she gets it off in time. All right, Meteor Fall throws weapon at the enemy, dealing damage equal to 1% of her strength, and then knocking them back a short distance and inflicting stun for 1 second. Now, the stun is strong, but if you've watched any of my other videos, I've said this a million times. Knockback in a autopilot game, not that strong. Okay, the stun is strong. I'd almost rather it didn't have the knockback, because if the target that she hits is engaged with one of your melee champions, a warrior, a tank, an assassin, the knockback takes them out of range. So now your DPS, your melee DPS, has to close the gap again. In some cases, they'll stop and they'll turn and they'll look for something closer. So I don't like that knockback. The 1 second, I would rather it just did a 1 second stun, because then your melee champions can just continue to attack. Now, if they're getting attacked by a range champion, it may not be as big a deal, but there's still the possibility if they get pushed out of range, your range DPS will look for another target. So I don't like the knockback. I think it's more of a hindrance than anything. But the 1 second stun is strong, assuming they stay within range. Okay, so who do we pick? It's a no-brainer. It's the male. I'm sorry. Like there's no situation in which the female is better than the male. That drag shot's just too strong. Can't overcome it. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether you agree, disagree. Like the video. If you want me to make more videos like this, comment, subscribe, tell a friend. I'm Belligerent. Peace.